Welcome to Larry's Library. This week, we are taking a look at Jeph Loeb and Tim Sale's Captain America Gallery Edition. If you've watched many of my videos, you know that I love the Marvel Gallery Edition. It is by far my favorite format for collected editions, so I was very excited to get this one, and I read it like the day after I opened it up. So this one is 160 pages. It has a manufacturer suggested retail price of $50, but as always, I caution you, don't be a chump. Don't pay MSRP. Get it from a good discounter. I like InStockTrades.com, where right now, at the time of shooting anyway, it's still available, and I see it for $31. Now, that $31 does include the 2% loyalty discount. If you don't know about that, how that works is if you buy something from IST, In Stock Trades, and you buy something else in a separate order, even on the same day, same night, you get 2% off. Now you have to do that, I think, within an 8-day interval. So that's, when you see people talk about strategic IST buying, that's what they're talking about. You spread these things out in $50 increments, you get free shipping, and then if you do them within 8 days of one another, you get 2% off the total again. Now, those don't stack, unfortunately, but hey, 2% is 2%. As the title would imply, it's written by Jeph Loeb, and it has art by the great late Tim Sale. Now, this continues their color series, like Daredevil Yellow, Spider-Man Blue, etc., and now we've got Captain America White. Not sure why they didn't make that the title of the collection, but they didn't. Of course, this does collect the entire 2015 limited series Captain America White. Now, I say 2015, but issue 0, the beginning of this, actually was published in 2008. And then the rest came out years later in 2015. The entire project was finished. So it is 6 issues counting the 0 issue. In the intro at the beginning of this one, Jeph Loeb writes, and he explains that the reason this was so many years in the making wasn't Tim Sale's fault. He said it was his fault due to the work he was doing in television at the time during those years. He was like an executive producer. I forget the exact title. That may not be right, but he was a producer on a bunch, I think pretty much all of the Marvel TV projects of the time. The great stuff on Netflix like Daredevil and Punisher and Jessica Jones. He was producer on those. Loved that stuff. Fantastic, I thought. Just fabulous adaptations. And then he was over the ABC shows too, which were good, but not as good in my view. You had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Peggy Carter and shows like that. And then you had, Runaways. There was a bunch of them. And they weren't all as good as the Netflix stuff, but I enjoyed most of those too. In most of these reviews you see people going on and on about Tim Sale's art. And, and I'm the same. His art is unbelievably great. But you don't always see people talk about how great Jeph Loeb's storytelling is here. I mean, he is just a great writer. He does such a great job sort of reimagining these characters' origins and then telling stories in between the original canon stories we've already read. He inserts little details that we never knew before that don't really violate existing continuity. So, you could call some of this stuff a retcon, but I would say no, it's just telling you more than you knew before. It's not really violating established continuity, at least not that I've noticed. And I really appreciate a writer that can do that and do it well. And Jeph Loeb definitely does it well. And it's wild too, because I don't think that Jeph Loeb is just a perfect comic book writer that can do no wrong. Not at all. He wouldn't even he would not be at the top of my list if I'm trying to think of writers that are like that. Because, I read his work on the regular Incredible Hulk book and then the Red Hulk stuff and all that. And I just thought it was okay. I wasn't a huge fan of that. I thought it was fine. But I didn't think it was going to rank up there as some of the greats of all time like some people seem to do. I don't agree. But for some reason, when paired with Tim Sale, it seems like Jeph Loeb's writing is amped up to meet the level of that art. It really does. And I am there for it. I just loved it. So this, like I said, this is another entry in that Marvel Color series. Now there is one more Jeph Loeb Tim Sale Gallery Edition coming out later, and that's the Wolverine Gambit Victims. It's going to be collected in a gallery. Now, I'm not sure you would really count that as part of the color series. Maybe you would. I'm not sure. I don't think it has color in the title anywhere. I mean, I have read that years ago in singles, but I don't really remember it being part of the color series, but it is another collection of this great team. Most of this one takes place during World War II, except for a little framing sequence of before and after where it's supposed to be the present day. And of course, when I say present day, I mean the present day Marvel Universe before we found out that Bucky was still alive. You know, before Brubaker did his thing with the Winter Soldier. So this takes place before all of those revelations. So at this time, you know, we still think Bucky's dead, and Steve Rogers is dealing with that. And so this is, like the other ones are sort of love stories to women that the main character loved. This one is a love story in the sense to a brother lost. So this is Steve Rogers dealing with the grief that he couldn't save Bucky. This is a really fun story. The flashback sequence, which is the majority of the book, like I said, takes place during World War II, deals with Captain America and Bucky are sent to help out Nick Fury and his Howling Commandos, who are stuck behind enemy lines in France. And there's Nazis everywhere. So this is awesome. And their plane goes down, they're stuck in the ocean, then when they wash ashore, they're behind enemy lines in France, like I said. It is great. And this is Nick Fury before he got his eye patch even. So it's wild seeing that. And Dum Dum Dugan and Nick Fury, they do not like Captain America very much at all. They look at him as sort of this choir boy, you know, they don't like somebody prancing around in the flag, as they say, but they grow to respect him as he helps them get out of this harrowing situation. There's a great part of this story, which I don't want to give away too much, involving Captain America's shield. It's lost briefly for reasons which I won't divulge because it's a pretty great plot point. And you have a very small cameo with Submariner, and it's fantastic. Just love seeing that. Love seeing Tim Sale's take on Submariner. I mean, the fingernails are a little weird, I gotta admit. I never pictured Submariners having those claw-like fingernails, but other than that, it's fantastic. Now, what Brubaker did by bringing Bucky back does make this one read a lot different. If you've read the Brubaker Cap to its conclusion, before you read this, it makes this thing hit different. But it still hits pretty good, and the emotional impact is still great. And this is a great story, a lovingly told story. You can tell in the art, the lush Tim Sale art, that he had so much fun doing this. And the love just comes through at every panel. The love for these characters, the love for the story, and just the love of comic book art. And that's what this is for me, for sure. I loved it. No doubt this is 10 out of 10 for me. I almost forgot to mention there is a lot of wonderful back material here. Got a bunch of sketches, some black and white uncolored stuff. You have interviews with both creators. It's fantastic. You got to have this in your collection if you're a Captain America fan. If you're a Tim Sale fan, for sure, you want this giant size art. It's great. Pick it up. 10 out of 10. It's great. I could gush for hours and show you every single page, but no one wants that. So I'm going to let it go there. Hope you enjoy taking a look at this and poring over this fantastic artwork. And I'll catch you next time. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you later.